Okay.
And just a quick introduction. So welcome to Google Docs 101. My name is Rachel. And let's get started. So I just wanted to start this off with a few things to remember about Google Docs. So you do need to have a Google account to access Google Docs. So either a Gmail account, or you can use your own personal email that could be from a different email service, but you would still need to create a Google account using that. Another thing to remember is that Google Docs automatically saves everything you type. So with Word, for example, you would need to go to the save button and make sure you periodically hit that. So in case, something happens and it closes all of a sudden, you know that your work is saved. You don't need to do that on Google Docs. Every single word you type, it saves automatically. Google Docs does not automatically capitalize the beginning of a sentence or the word I. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So Word will do that for you. Google Docs does not do that. Also, you can share your document with other people and allow them to make changes to the document. So that's a cool feature. So if you're ever doing something that you would like other people to work on as well, you can share the document and allow them to edit it, and you can even edit it at the same time as them. Okay. So Google Docs versus Microsoft Word. So Google Docs is free and accessible from any browser. Microsoft Word costs money to download onto your computer and can only be installed on Windows and OS X. Google Docs does require internet access to edit the document. So you would need to be somewhere where you have internet. Whereas Microsoft does not require internet access. Google Docs is easy to use if you need light word processing features. Microsoft Word is less user-friendly, but comes with a lot of layout and format features. So if you're doing something like a really in-depth project, then Microsoft would probably be better to use. But if you're just typing a normal Word document or writing a letter, it should be simple enough to use Google Docs. So now I'm going to change my screen and I'm going to bring up Google Docs. Okay, so we are on the home screen for Google Docs. So as you can see at the very top, you have the option to start a new document. So if you want to create a blank one, it's the very first option. All the other ones that you see here are actually templates that you can use. So if you see here, we have the template gallery. So if you want to see more options, you would just click that and it brings you more options from the template gallery. Now beyond that, I'm going to hit the back arrow. Beyond that, anything below this section is all the documents that you have in your Google Docs, starting with the most recent. So here I have one that I'm going to open, and it's actually a template that I took from here just so we have a visual. So it's complete nonsense, so you don't need to read it. But we're going to start by learning the toolbar, starting at the very top left. So here we have our two arrows, one facing the left, which is undo, and one facing the right, which is redo. So if I was on my document and I deleted this, so I got rid of where it said your name, but then I realized, wait, I wanted to keep that. I can click this, undo, and it's back. And then maybe I was like, no, wait, I was right. I actually don't need that there. redo and it's gone again. Okay, moving on, we have the print feature right next to that. So that's pretty self-explanatory. When you want to print something, you click that and then we will see the print screen come up. Next, this A with a check mark is to check spelling and grammar. Now, that is something that it should be doing automatically anyway, as you're typing. But if you want to be sure, you can always click that and it will check for you. And if it is fine, it will tell you this document looks good. Okay, next we have the paint format, which looks like a little paint roller. So this is probably something that you're unfamiliar with. So basically what you would do is, so if you're clicked somewhere, so how your name is bolded. So let's say I want to bold something else in my document that's not bolded. So I click next to it, I hit the paint format, and then I highlight a different area. So I'm gonna highlight Dear Miss Reader. Now that's bolded as well. So if you have a particular format that you want to set to, you can just use the paint formatter to change it. So I'm just going to undo that. Okay, so next we have the zoom function. So if your screen, if you're not able to see, it's not big enough, it gives you different options. So if we want to make this a little bit bigger, so now your document might be easier to see. Okay. So next is different styles of text. So you have a bunch of different ones, applying different headings, titles. I feel like most people just use the normal text, which is what it's set to. So only if you're like want to add like a title at the top and then it becomes very big, for example. I'm gonna undo that. Okay, and then next we have fonts. So this is the drop-down menu. You know you have a choice of a bunch of different ones, but if there are ones that you don't see here and you'd like other options, at the very top you have more fonts, and it'll give you plenty of more to choose from. Okay. And now we're on font size. So you can either increase with the plus sign or decrease with the minus sign. And you can actually click inside the font box as well. And you get different options, or you can even type one in. Because as you see, like let's say with 14 to 18, it skips a few. So maybe you want your font to be like 15. So you can just type in 15 and then hit enter, and then that's becomes the font size. So I'm just going to undo that. All right. Then we have our bold, italicize, and underline options. Now for those options, you can do two things. You can either start off your document having that. So for example, I'm just going to enter this down a little bit. So my cursor is over here. If I want the words I type to be bold, I can click it and then start typing. And I have bold. So either you want to start off your line with having the bold effect highlighted already, you can click, drag, and highlight something, and then hit bold, and it'll become bold. So you have two options. You can either start off with bold and start typing, or highlight something that you want to be bold and then click bold. And that's the same with italicize and underline as well. So once again, I'm going to undo that. Moving on to the A with a line under it. That is for text color. So once again, I'm just going to highlight this. So if I want this to be like a dark red instead of black, I just choose one of our color options and there we go. So once again, I'm going to undo that. And also as well, you see it gives you a lot of different color options. But if you would like to see more, it does give you the option to customize, and then it'll bring this up for you where you can move the color line down here and it'll go through the different colors, and then you can use this circle inside of here and move it around to try different colors as well. I'm just going to head back. And now we have this little highlighting marker. So once again, if you click that, you can choose in what color you want to highlight. So let's say I want to do yellow. So now that's set and you can see that there's a yellow line underneath the marker. So then you would just choose what you want to highlight and click and drag. Oh, it didn't work for me. Okay. Excuse me. Click and drag first, then hit the marker, then choose your color. There we go. All right, so I'm just going to undo that. And now we move on to these options. So these options are all about inserting something into your document. So what looks like a chain link is to insert a link. So if you click that, you see that it highlights the text and you can paste a link from, let's say, Google that you want to be attached there. Next is to, I'm going to skip this one for a second. Next, we're going to do to insert an image. So if you hit the drop down, it gives you different options of where you can take this from. So you can get an image from your computer, from your camera, from Drive, from Photos. Now, they also have Search the Web, which I think is a cool feature because it actually just opens on the side of your screen. So if you see on the very right side, you can now see where it says Google Images. So you don't even have to leave Google Docs. You can just type in, I'm just going to type in corgi because dogs are cute, and hit enter. And now you've got pictures of corgis that you can choose from. And if you want to insert it into your document, you would just click the picture you want and then drag it over. And there you go. Now you have a cute corgi picture in your document. I am going to delete that. Also, if you click, you see at the bottom, it'll say one selected, and you can just click insert as well. So if you think that's easier than clicking and dragging, you can do that. So So either click and drag or just hit insert to put any photos into your document. Ronnie wants to go away. Actually, we're going to actually stick with photos right now because that would be a perfect time to show different photo options. So let me actually bring back the corgi photo. There we go. So once we have a photo in here, if we want to make changes to it, just click on the photo. And you can see that it's chosen because now you've got this blue border around it. And if you notice at the very top, there has been some changes to the toolbar. So specifically around here, we have, you can replace the image. You have image options. So if you click that off to the right side, you have different options. So like adjustment, so you can adjust the brightness, the contrast, the transparency. Recolor, you can change the way the color is. So these are all pretty intense, but I'll pick one just as an example. And if you want to get rid of it, you can either hit undo or you can hit no recolor over here. You can choose how it fits within the text. So you can have it in line with text, wrap it around, have text wrap around it. It could break up the text. And then you can see different aspect ratios of like height and scale for it. Now you can also crop in this case. So crop would be this button right here. So if you click that, you see that these black lines have appeared. So you can just click on them and drag it to crop the photo. I don't think I got that one. There we go. So if I only wanted this much of the photo, I would drag those black lines and then I would hit crop again. And now you have a cropped image. And as you see, this has popped up as well now that we've cropped it. So this will let you reset the image if you didn't like how you cropped it. So I'm going to delete the photo and we will move on. Okay, so the one I skipped over here is this little speech bubble with a plus in it. Now this is to add a comment. So this is where Google Docs becomes a little bit more complicated, and certainly this is something you would use if you were sharing your document and collaborating with other people on it. So you see when I press this button, this comes up. So it highlighted where my cursor was, and it'll allow me to make a comment. So maybe I was looking through this and I realized that that's not how Ronnie spells Ronnie. So, but I don't, so maybe I want to make a note that their name is R-O-N-N-I-E. And then I can see that comment is there. So then I'll remember, oh, you might want to change that to the proper spelling. Or same thing, I can choose over here and say comment, and maybe I want to type sentence fragment. So then I'll remember that I might want to go back and how this sentence is, so it's not a sentence fragment. So basically, it's just, you can use it as little reminders to yourself of things you want to fix or things to work on in the future. And if you want to get rid of this, if you hit the 3 buttons in the corner of a comment, you could always just hit delete and they will go away. Okay, moving on. We have this section, which pretty much just adjusts where your typing is. So if I wanted this to be in the middle of the screen instead of off to the left side, I would just hit that. If I wanted it to the right, I would hit that. And then justify will also start it at the left, but it will have the lines be even rather than this one, which will keep bringing them down. That's a feature I think most people are pretty familiar with.
Yeah.
All right, then we have line spacing. So that is the 2-way arrow with the lines there. So this is where you can change your line. So if I'm gonna highlight this, and I can make it double space if I wanted to. Or maybe I only want it to be 1.5 or 1.5, is that it? That's an interesting decision. Okay. Now, after that, we have numbered lists and bulleted lists. So if you have a list in your document and you want to make it very clear that it's a list, now obviously this isn't a list, but I'm just going to use it as an example. So I'm going to highlight that. And then I'm going to click numbered list, and it gives you different ways that you can number it. But I'm just going to choose the first one. So now you have, this is number 1, and if I hit enter, it's going to bring up number 2, and so on and so forth. I'm just going to undo that, bring that normal, but we'll keep this highlighted, and now we'll hit bulleted lists right here. And once again, it gives you different ways and different shapes, I guess, that you can use as a bullet point. I think most people just use a nice circle. So we click that, you get the circle, and then same thing if you hit enter, one of those circles will keep coming up for you to make your list. So I'm just going to undo. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put my cursor right at the beginning of here. So this is a way, these two here is a way to increase an indent or decrease an indent. So if I wanted to bring this in more, I could click that. And now you've seen it's moved over. And if I hit it again, it'll do the same thing. And if I want to do the opposite and set it back to normal, I would hit the decrease indent. And now it's back to how it was before. Now, this T with a line through it is to clear formatting. So I would say this is best for 2 things. One, this is something that I tend to do a lot. I'll have something on bold. I'll type something out, it's bold. Then the next thing I want to type, I don't want to be bold, but I forget to turn it off. So then I'm typing something and I look up and it's in bold. And I'm like, great, I didn't want that. So if that happens, if you select something like, let's say I didn't want this to be bold, and then I hit clear formatting, now it's not bold anymore. So if you ever mistake in terms of formatting, just highlight that area and then hit this button, the T with the line through it, and then it'll go back to normal. But I'm gonna hit undo, we're gonna keep it. Okay. Now, at the very end of the line, we have this little pencil, and next to it, it says editing. So the reason it says editing is because we're on editing mode, meaning that I can make changes to the document. I actually have 3 options here. So there is also suggesting mode, which means edits become suggestions. So it's not actually changing anything, but it's leaving a suggestion there for future changes, somewhat like commenting. So if I hit that, you'll see now it says suggesting. So I can highlight this, let's say, and then you get the option to add a comment. So once again, I showed you, we could say, you know, that's spelled wrong, it's meant to be Ronnie, something along those lines. Oh, I believe it is if I do this, yes, okay. So I'm gonna exit that just so I remember. So that was commenting, but if you notice, when I put my cursor here next to Ronnie, if I hit delete on my keyboard, all right, well, it's going weirder than I thought. Okay, if I hit backspace on my keyboard, let's go with that one. You'll see that it crossed Ronnie out, and that will come up as a comment. So basically, this is what's going to show up. So then you know, oh, I don't want Ronnie's name to be there anymore. I'm going to get rid of it once I'm back in editing mode. So basically, these are suggestions to make so that when you're back in editing mode, oh, I crossed Ronnie's name out in suggestions. That means I want to get rid of it. So basically, it's just like reminders to yourself on what you need to fix in your document. Okay. Now, the last one is also viewing mode. So this, you can't do anything to it. When you're in this mode, the only thing that you can do is read the document, and then go to File and print it. That's all you can do on viewing mode. So if you're ever in Google Docs and you're stuck because you're clicking on the document, it's not letting you do anything, chances are you ended up in viewing mode somehow. So then you would just want to go to the top where you see the little eye and switch it back to editing. Okay. Now, let's continue along this way and finish up with this corner. So in the top right corner, the main thing to know is the share button. So this is if you ever want to work with someone else on a document. So you're going to hit the blue share button. Oh, okay, well, it's actually going to tell me to name my document first, although you can skip this part, but since it's asking me to do it, I will show you that as well. So before we share, oh, never mind, it let me through. Okay, so share with people in groups. So you'll see in this box, you can type in an email address that you want to send this document to. Now, once you type this in, it will give you the options to say what you want to allow them to do. So you can make them an editor, meaning that they're allowed to make changes to the document. You can make them someone who can add suggestions to the document, or you can only make them a viewer, meaning, once again, that they can only read the document, but they can't make any changes to it. Now, once you choose that as well, you can adjust those controls further. You see this cog in the top right corner. So if I click this cog, these are both checked. So these say editors can change permissions and share. So meaning that editors are allowed to change what other people in the group are allowed to do to it, and that they can share with other people as well. If you don't want anyone else to have that power except for you, you can uncheck it, and then it says editors can't change permissions or share. So recheck it. And the same thing with viewers. So this says viewers and commenters can see the option to download, print, and copy. So if you don't want them to see those options, then again, you would uncheck it, and then that takes that control away from them. So basically, this is to just give you more power over what you're showing the people you're sharing with, and what controls they have over the document. But we will go back. All right, now that we've gone across the way, we're going to go back to the left. At the very top left, you see it says Untitled Document. So to name your document, all you would have to do is click inside there, and then you can start typing. So since we use the letter template, I'm just going to name it letter. And if you click away from it, now it's titled. So when you look for your document back on the home page, I would look for it under letter. Now we will get into these features. Now I'm not going to go into everything, especially because a lot of the stuff here is basically the toolbar that I just explained to you. It's just another way to get to the same tool. But let's start with file. So if we hit the file menu, we get this drop down. So it gives you the options to open a new document, open a previous document. You can make a copy of the document. And you can also email it straight from here, which I think is a nice function. So instead of having to open another tab, go into your email and attach the document from there, you could just hit email this file, and then a box will come up where you can type in who you want to email it to and type in a little message, and then it'll attach it as a PDF, although it'll give you different options if you want to attach it as something different. So I'm just going to hit cancel and go back to file up here in the top. Okay. So you also have the option to download it, and once again, it'll give you different formats that you can download it in. So if you want to download it as a Word document or as a PDF, which is normally the two most popular ones that people would download something as, you can, but there are other options as well. This one is interesting too, version history. So basically, if you've made changes to your document and you want to see an older version of your document, you can say see version history, and it'll show you all the things that you've done to it, and you can even go back to older versions. So maybe you've changed it in ways that you didn't like, and you're like, no, I like it how I had it before. In the very right side of the page, you can go back to older versions of it as well. So as you see, I clicked on an older version, and then at the very top to the left, it'll tell you at what time I changed it. So this is actually a version from yesterday, and it says restore this version. So I can change it back to that one. So I can say restore, and now it's back to the way it was yesterday. Okay, so back to file. Okay. So you can rename your document, you can move it to somewhere else. trash and completely delete it. And then you also have the print option, obviously, and page setup. So you can click page setup. This is where you can adjust your margins. This is one option on how you can change your page orientation, though it is not the only place that you can do it. We'll see that you can do it in other places as well. But you can change it to landscape. You can change the page color. So if you want to get fancy items and you don't want it to be white, you can change the background to a different color. And now it's this nice beige. We're gonna undo that. Okay, moving on to edit. I didn't go into much detail with this on the handout because we already went over undo and redo. You can just do that from the toolbar over here. Pasting, you can use this, and it tells you that the shortcut to paste is Control-V. And then obviously you can also always just right click. So if I want to copy this, I highlighted it, I hit copy, and maybe I wanted to, I'm just gonna hit enter once. So if I right click my mouse, I can just hit paste from here instead of having to go to edit at the top. So to me, that's the easier way to do it. But that's of course up to your preferences. So same thing, you see paste without formatting. I'm just gonna bring this back up. So paste without formatting is something also that's over here. So paste without formatting means, let's say I just copied something from the internet and their text was using the font Arial, but my font is Times New Roman. So if I don't want Arial in my Times New Roman document, I would hit paste without formatting, and then it will automatically make what I copied Times New Roman so it matches the rest of my document. So that's what that's for. Okay. Moving on to view, I didn't go into much detail in this either on your handout. So basically what it is it'll tell you all the functions that you can see on your screen. So anything that has a check next to it, that means that you can currently see it on your screen. So like, for example, the show ruler, that's checked because as you can see, there is a ruler where my mouse is at the very top of your screen. So that's showing currently. But if I click it and it unchecks, now that ruler is gone. So if you want to clear up what you're seeing, if you think there's too much going on the screen, then you can go to view and uncheck things. Or if you feel like you're missing something and you can't find what you're looking for, then you would probably want to make sure that that option is checked here. So I'm just going to check it back and the ruler is back again. Okay. Now we are going to go to insert. Now insert has a lot of options. Now you can insert an image, which is, as I said before, something you can also do from the toolbar over here. So it's really up to you which place you want to do that from. But a new feature is you can enter a table. So when you do that, you'll see it gives you boxes and you can choose, oh, I want a 4x3 table entered into my document, so forth. You can enter a chart. You could enter little footnotes. You can add a header and a footer. So let's say I want to add my header. We can see it up there.
Ooh.
You can enter page numbers and it'll give you the option of where you want to see them. So if you want them at the, there we are. If you want them at the top right corner, then it would be this first option. And then you can see a page number was added. You could also, let me click out of that. That's why it's not letting me do it. Okay. You could also add a break to your page. So if I was at the bottom here and then I hit insert and I say page break, now it's moved on to another page. So moving on to our format options, we click that. This is definitely something where a lot of the stuff that you can do is already in your toolbar. So we've gone over different text formatting. This is the bold, italic, and underline. Paragraph styles, this is changing from normal text. Aligning and indenting. Line spacing if you want to make it double. This is new. This is if you want to add columns into your document, you can use this section. If you want to do the bullets or numbered list, you can do it from here. Now this is to format a header and footer. So if you hit that, you can change the margins of the header and footer, and you can also change what your first page is of your document. So this is only, so remember, you're going to use insert to add the header and footer, but then you're going to use format to actually make changes to the header and footer. So once again, you can make changes to the page numbers of how that's formatted. So if you want it in the footer instead of the header, you can change that. If you want it to be starting at page 2 for whatever reason, you can change that. Page orientation, so this is where you can also change from portrait to landscape if you want to. And then once again, you have the clear formatting option here, just like you do in this corner. I realized I actually skipped something in insert, so let me go back to the insert option. So one of the options is drawing. So if you go there and then you go to new, it will bring this page up and you will see you can put an image in, you can add a text box here. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not in love with this feature because you can't see where all the rest of the wording on your document is when you're in drawing. So I added a text box. I'll write something. And then I can hit save and close. So yeah, so now it's appeared up here. So I can move it around if I want. So like down here, this appears. So this is how you can change how it's, what position it's in compared to your text. So I can take it, grab it. Oh, didn't grab it. You don't want me to grab you, do you? This big cursor makes it very hard. Okay, well, normally you can click and drag it and move it to where you want it to be on the document. I would say though that drawing feature is a little bit confusing. Okay, so we did formatting. So we're going to move on to tools. So once again, you can check spelling and grammar. And you can also see how it's checked off to already show spelling suggestions and show grammar suggestions. So as you're typing, just like in Word, when you see a word you spelled wrong is underlined in red, you know that you need to fix the spelling. And normally if you click on that word, it'll give you a spelling suggestion unless you've completely butchered it and they have no idea what you're trying to say. Okay. Then you have word count. So if you notice, there is nothing that is keeping track of your word count on the screen. So if you hit tools and then word count, it'll tell you how many words are in your document, how many characters, and it'll also give you the option to display the word count while you're typing. So if you want to see how many words you're typing, just check off this box, click OK, and now you see in the bottom left corner, it's telling you how many words you're typing. And if you hit the arrow, it'll give you more detail, like characters. Back to tools. I'm going to just go to stuff that I feel important because some of these are a little bit more advanced. Explore is a fun option. So this will allow you to open that and you will see that off to the right side, you can, oh, let me just move this so I'm not blocking myself. You can type in here. So I'm going to type corgis again because I like corgis. So if I type in corgi and I hit enter, it will bring corgis up on the web. So if you're looking for information to put in your document and you're saying, oh, I need to look something up, instead of opening a very new tab, you can just do it inside your Google document. So it'll bring up the web. And once again, it'll bring up images if you want images. But that's just a cool function. I think it's very nice that you don't have to leave Google Docs to look something up on the internet. You can just stay inside by using the Explore option. But I'm just going to hit the X over there so that's out of our way. Then tools. They also have a dictionary option. They have this feature on Word too. So basically, if you're putting a word in your document and you're not 100% sure you used it correctly based on its meaning, and you want to check, you can click dictionary and look up the meaning of the word. I would say those are the functions through tools that aren't getting too advanced that it would be nice to know how to use. Okay. So that is basically all these features on here that I would say are most useful to know about. Did you have any questions?
The translate, I've been waiting for you to translate the document. How'd that work?
Okay, you want to see that one. Okay. Translate document. So if you click translate document, it'll bring it up and it'll say choose a language.
Okay.
So we'll just go with one that's right here. So first one is Arabic. So if I click that, and then hit translate, it actually opens a new tab. And now your document is translated into the other language.
Okay.
I'm going to say I do not know how accurate it is. I would hope that it's trustworthy, but I'm not 100% sure. So I'm just going to X out of that, and we're back to our Google document. Were there any other functions that you had questions about?
No, everything else kind of explains itself once you start working with it. The more you use it, the more you retain the memory how things work in different functions.
Yes. As I mentioned before at the start, it's very user-friendly. And, you know, as you might have noticed, as I was pointing at certain things, when you point, it actually tells you what the function is.
Yes. Yes.
So As you said, yes, it's very self-explanatory for the most part.
It does have nice features, the way you can move things from Google, whereas prior when I used Word, I have to have two windows open, copy, paste, and move it over, and it's some saving features there that are nice too.
Yes. Yeah, doing those features as well, I think it makes it a lot easier to just be able to find something and stay within your document. Okay. In that case, if we don't have any questions, I wish you luck on your Google Docs journey. And I hope it's useful for you.
It was.
It was good. I'm glad. All right, so I'm gonna actually stop screen share. All right. And I bid you adieu then.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. You have a nice day.
You too. Bye-bye.